Okay, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Sunday sessions. You hearing me okay? Yeah, okay. Such a delight to have y'all here. Let me know in the chat if you would, if you're brand new to Sunday sessions, or I mean, if you've done like other programs with me, then just let me know if you're kind of brand new to the way that I tend to work so that I'll know to explain terms a little bit more and such. I see lots of familiar faces. It's fun. Hi, Todd. Both Todds. Hi. Both of you stacked right next to each other there. That's fun. Hi, Maria. Hi, Tova. Hi, Diana. Hi, Rachel. Hi, Rebecca. Hi, Nova. Susie. Elaine's here. Mary, Mia, Benjamin, Lori, Andrew. Yay. Okay. Hi, Denise. Okay. So Sunday sessions. Hi, Robin. Good morning. I'm saying hi to the people who are on camera, but I see you all. Thank you for being here. Okay, and a couple of you are new. Welcome. All right, so what are we doing here? We are doing a combination of things. We always do a combination of things. Sunday sessions are kind of a bit of a cornucopia of activities. So we do some writing. I bring poem prompts. We do some sitting, some meditating, and usually some somatics at some point. I will be like, okay, let's get up, let's stand up, let's shake it off, let's move the body. And so, and obviously you can do that at any point, and I encourage you even like right now to feel what's happening in your body. Try to open it up a little bit, open up across the top chest, open up the neck, let yourself kind of come out of spectator mode and into presence with your own somatic experience. And, hopefully you can stay in that awareness as we move through our practices and such. There's a little bit of a kind of thematic lens here that I'll be taking us into. I don't think I said that much about this in the email. I kind of don't know what the email said because it kept breaking. It was like 1998, where you'd write a term paper and it would be gone. I was having some connection issue in my CRM, my customer relationship management portal, and I'd write a big thing and then it would be gone. So I meant to kind of explain where we were, and then I don't think that actually ended up happening. So what I usually do in Sunday sessions is I bring a little piece of where we are in DharmaBridge, which is my long-term program, and try to deliver it in a way that's comprehensible. So in Dharma Bridge right now, we're working with the mandala of the five wisdom lights, the mandala of five transformations, five Buddha families, five dakinis. You may have heard of it in any of these ways. And this mandala it's a very layered practice. It's a very deep practice. It's a practice that has some incredibly simple um, transformations or possibilities for transformation in it because you can simply enter into the mandala, visualize light, and practice mantra. So let yourself be transformed by simply light and sound. But there are also these, very deep, uh, it's a very organized system and has a lot of, there's a ton of history and many lineages that work with these energies. So there are particular psychological transformations associated with each direction in the mandala. And we're going to work with three of them today. And they are the three, what I sometimes call the three, the poisons on the vertical axis of the mandala. But they are the three central poisons in Buddhism, or the three central encumbered patterns that are also magically the liberated patterns. Okay, they're not just like the portal unto the liberation, they kind of are the liberation. So we're going to work with those three, and they are the Buddha transformation, and the Vajra Buddha transformation, and the Padma Buddha transformation. So let me bring up a couple of slides here, and I also want to remember to invite you to a if I can't find the slide deck, invite you to a webinar that I'm going to be offering on the 23rd of August. And that'll give you an opportunity to kind of actually just sit inside a the work a little bit more deeply and give you a little bit of a preview of what's coming next. So I'll share more about that in via email. We don't have a whole lot of information yet about this. So I'm thinking about calling it the Imaginal Realm. So webinar on August 23rd, kind of a deep dive, moving more toward the Shiva Tantra. So just save the date for that if you're interested, August 23rd, 10 a.m. I'll say more about that at the end because that'll be an opportunity also to learn about the Writing Across the Dharma Bridge program that is coming up beginning on September 2nd, I believe. And the facilitator track that is a new thing. So I'll talk more about that in email, but let's carry ourselves into our practice here today. Okay, so as I just said, we're going to work with these three families, and there are many associations with these three Buddha families. We could just ask ourselves, like, what is a Buddha family? And probably talk about that for a year or so. Um, Especially if you're not like deeply acquainted with Buddhism, you probably think about the Buddha as just the Buddha, the Shakyamuni Buddha, Siddhartha Gautama, the historical Buddha, the Buddha of our time. But there's not just that one Buddha. One of my recent favorite quotes that I don't even know where it came from is, I think it may have been Robert Thurman, may he rest in power, because I've been listening to him a lot lately. But I actually don't know who said it. It was the Buddha didn't reveal the Dharma reveals Buddhas. The Buddha didn't reveal the Dharma reveals Buddhas. So when we sit inside the teachings, there is this possibility that that our own internal Buddhahood will be revealed to us. At any point where there is an awakeness, a Buddha is born, basically. But there are these specific kind of energetic fields of awakeness that are often referred to as the Buddha families. And there's a little bit more about this on the next slide. So these three Buddhas that, as I said, are associated with the three core poisons and the three liberated patterns are Buddha, Vajra, and Padma. And the central Buddha, um, you don't need to know these terms, but the central Buddha is associated with emptiness, shunyata, dharmadhatu, ultimate reality, space, ultimate enlightenment, the reminder that conditioned existence is empty of permanent identity. And the seed syllable is bum. But the poison that's associated with that central Buddha is the central poison of ignorance of our true nature. So, you know, out of that central ignorance, any other encumbrance can arise. But out of that spaciousness of emptiness, the possibility for every liberation is available. So in a mandala practice, in the mandala practice that I practice, you move from in your mind, you move from the Buddha family and this awareness of spaciousness to water, to the east, to Vajra, to this blue luminosity, to the embodiment of mirror-like wisdom and clarity. And that clarity, that liberated experience of clarity, is also accompanied by the conditioned tendency toward anger or aversion. And then Padma in the West, and in the mandala practice, you sit facing the east, and so you have a sense of like being in the center and having the east out in front of you, the Vajra energy out in front of you, and the Padma energy behind you in the west. So the Padma energy is associated with craving and grasping, craving in particular, but also the transformation of craving into discernment, the wisdom of discernment, or what's sometimes called discriminating awareness wisdom, discriminating awareness wisdom, which is a bit of a mouthful. So I usually say discernment, the wisdom of discernment. Okay, so now you know these are the energies we're going to work with, and we're going to work with them um, a little bit in our sit and then through our writing practice. So I have poems picked for each of these families. We'll see how we do time-wise. One note is that, like, this is a picture over here, an aerial view of Swayambhunath, and you can see this staircase right here leading up. This is the east, and the Vajra, the whole temple is organized around these energies. And similarly, when you sit, like if you imagine yourself sitting over here on this little graphical diagram I've got, if you imagine yourself sitting, you would begin, sitting in the center with Buddha kind of embodying the transformation of Buddha family with Vajra to your east, you're facing east. So kind of, on this screen, you're facing down toward Vajra and Padma behind you. Okay, so vertical, I call this the vertical axis because it's kind of how it's laid out, but this is actually east and west. So you get a sense of the directions in your sit and a sense of being kind of contained by the energies of the mandala, held inside the wisdom light. There's a sense of being able to relax in a different sort of way, a sense of kind of belonging to the wisdom light, which is actually an arising of your own consciousness, your own Buddha nature, you could say. Okay. All right. And thanks, Delana, for answering questions. Okay, so we're going to go into a sit here so we can just kind of let ourselves settle. But I love the aniconic representations of the Buddha, and this one was a new one for me, so I wanted to share this. So, aniconic meaning like no icon. Like sometimes there's a statue of the Buddha that would be an icon or kind of a murti, a form of the Buddha. But there are also representations of the Buddha that have no icon. Like there's an empty chair. There's like the empty chair, which is um, the representation of the Buddha sitting in the night of his enlightenment. There's the footprint, which is an aniconic representation of the Buddha, the path of Buddhahood, the path of Buddhism. And this representation of Vairochana, the Buddha family, is, I think, pretty cool. It's a moon disk atop a lotus. So let us go into a little sit. I always like to make myself a little slide here to remember to stop talking. So this slide is to remind Kelly to stop talking and to turn off the slideshow for a second and to go into a little sit together. So one of the things that those of you that are new may not have heard before is that I like to have us begin our sit by greeting our space. Um, and hello to Suzanne and Christine and Deb, Tessia, Pam. It's nice to see you, and Delana. So greeting our space is just an opportunity to kind of stand up for a moment. And I like to go to the door that I come in through and bow to the space. So I want to invite you to do that. Of course, you can choose to not do that. You can do it internally if you wish. You can close your eyes and just imagine yourself greeting yourself. But if you go to the kind of portal of your room here and just pause for a moment there and bow to your space, you might pause long enough to let yourself feel the protection of this space that you're in and kind of feel a bit of a gratitude for it. If this may be your prayer space, your sanctuary, this may be where you do a lot of your sitting. You might feel a different kind of energy in the room here. You might also walk around your room a little bit, and perhaps there are candles to light or altars to greet. So I encourage you to take a moment to just let yourself kind of call in your guides as we go into our little meditation practice. If there are mantras that you connect to, feel free to chant them. I'm going to greet my space as well. So if you know where the east is, you might sit down facing the east. And you can also just imagine yourself sitting in the center of the mandala, which can mean many things. But in the center of the refuge of your deepest devotion, perhaps devotion to spaciousness itself, relaxing your certainties, opening your curiosity, experiencing yourself always at a fresh moment, always in a sense at a crossroads, opening up to what is unknown, softening to the unknown future. You can settle yourself into the mandala, thinking of this as a reminder that you're always in the mandala of your own perception. All perceptions, arisings of mind, you can settle yourself into the refuge, the traditional refuge of the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. You can settle yourself into the refuge of surrender to your higher power. You can settle yourself into the refuge of the constancy of the cycles of creation and preservation and dissolution, forgetting and remembrance. Feel the spaciousness in your breath. Soften around the heart. Opening up to the experience of heart essence, that eternal awakeness that is your own essence and the essence of all beings. And feel the softness in there, that profound compassion. And you might really deepen the breath and feel the central channel. Imagining the breath opening you up, opening up an awareness of the root, Muladhara chakra, that root energy center. Opening up the awareness of the crown chakra and the spaciousness above. Imagine yourself in the center of the mandala, so in the Buddha family, suffused by white light, also the deepest dark, all possibility, all emptiness. And then imagine in front of you, in the east, the blue luminosity of Vajra, transformation of aversion into mirror-like wisdom. And behind you, the red luminosity of Padma, the Padma Buddha family, Padma Dakini, deep red luminosity, reminding you of this embodiment of the transformation of craving to the wisdom of discernment. In a little bit, I'll chant the seed syllables of these three families. And you can take your awareness into possibly the visualization of the color, white in the center, blue in the front, in the east, red in the back. If visualizing color is hard, just imagining clarity in front of you, discernment behind, arising out of the spaciousness at center. And I'll chant each 3 times. There's a sense of both generating ourselves as these energies, also sending light out to the wisdom beings, and experiencing on the 3rd chanting, wisdom light returning. Let yourself settle. Breathing in and breathing out. Just let yourself soften a little bit more. Softening the shoulders, softening at the heart center. And just for a few more moments, relaxing into this sense of being held in the white light of the transformation of Buddha Dakini, the transformation of ignorance into all-encompassing wisdom. And the arising from that wisdom, clarity in the east, discernment in the west. And in a moment, I'll chant the seed syllables again, just one time in a different order. We'll dissolve Vajra into the heart of the central Buddha, central Dakini, into your own heart. And then Padma. We'll dissolve Padma into our own hearts. And then finally, we'll dissolve the manifestation, the embodiment of oneself as the mandala will dissolve the wholeness of that as we dissolve the bum of the Buddha family. And when you're ready, bring the hands together at the heart. Bowing to your own heart, the heart of all practitioners, this collective journeying into awakening. And may all beings, may all sentient beings experience the transformation of the encumbered patterning and see into liberated essence. And let the hands release. Okay, so check in with your body, see how you're feeling. If you need to just lie yourself down in Shavasana, you can. If you need to stand up and shake it out, you can do that. I'm going to bring us back to our slide deck and we're going to do a little bit of writing. Welcome to anybody who just joined. Hi, Maria. Hi, Taria. Who else am I seeing that just came? Another Maria. Both the Marias are here. Hi, Mary. Okay, so sharing once again. All right, so as I said, we're going to start with a poem for that I'm associating with the Buddha family. The symbol of the Buddha family is the wheel of Dharma. I keep bringing this poem up in putting it in slide decks for DharmaBridge, and we never get around to using it as a free write prompt. So I'll read it once, and then if somebody else wants to read it, it'd be great to hear another voice, and then we'll just see where we go with it. We'll take about 5 minutes and just see where we take it in our own writing. We don't know what's going on here. We don't know. Our life is a faint tracing on the surface of mystery, like the idle curved tunnels of leaf miners on the face of a leaf. We must somehow take a wider view, look at the whole landscape, really see it, and describe what's going on here. Then we can at least wail the right question into the swaddling band of darkness, or if it comes to that, choir the proper praise. Okay, somebody else like to read? Okay, great, Laurel, take it away.
We don't know what's going on here. We don't know. Our life is a faint tracing on the surface of mystery, like the idle curved tunnels of leaf miners on the face of a leaf. We must somehow take a wider view, look at the whole landscape, really see it, and describe what's going on here. Then we can at least wail the right question into the swaddling band of darkness, or if it comes to that, choir the proper praise.
So much, Laurel.
Thank you.
So if you see any lines, this is for all of you, if you see any lines that you are drawn to, I would love for you to put them in the chat. Just little snippets that might be a good jumping off place. I'm seeing the swaddling band of darkness. Yeah, so a few things coming in to the chat, just places that people are seeing that are good places to begin. So feel free to grab one of those lines from the chat. Our life is a faint tracing. We don't know. Choir the proper praise. Wail the right questions. Look at the whole landscape. Okay, so grab one of those lines and we'll take 5 minutes. Just take it wherever you take it. Let yourself just flow. Don't feel like you have to control where you're going. Just open. You take another few moments with that one. And then when you feel complete, just take a moment to notice where you just journeyed, see what came through, and if there are any lines that you want to share in the chat, please do. Just see if there's any little snippet, any combination of words, any phrases that came through that feel like you want to kind of offer them to the whole and also highlight them for your own recollection just by putting them in the chat. Okay, so some lines are coming through. I'm just going to read what I'm seeing. Yes, why not just wailing? Right question or not, just wailing until it stops by itself. The spontaneity of joy and pain, now imbued with deep choruses of meaning. Ode to another fucking practice opportunity. Sometimes, are you kidding me? Often I am the sea, whimsically. We choir the praises, harmonizing the proper with the improper, confused, unfinished, rejoicing in the dissonance. Take in the mystery, lean into it, allow it, breathe it, be with it, and love it. Sometimes, when the right questions are wailed, there's a trust the answer will come, and there's a praise and devotion in that. Our life is but a faint tracing, after all, till the light on the surface uncovers the veins of who we are. I am exhausted, searching for the light. I wish I could just relax. Describe what's going on here. What's really going on here? Here, not there, not some other realm. Here, in this moment, this body, this sensation. Describe it now. Choir the praise. I'm alive. We all live separate lives, but for each other to help each other on this journey. I am going to feel the vibration of the leaves. Getting here, sinking into and expanding, sinking into and expanding. I want to pour my blood over history and hope. I want to crack the egg of the future, so all of now runs down the timeline into dark emptiness, into the void between the fires of existence. The whole landscape I see. Open eyes, open heart. As I stand in the center of mystery, what guides me? What I see and what I feel, a tracing of my life, like tracing the colors of a rainbow. I need both the creativity to hear myself wail and to let down into the comfort of a choir, joining together in praise. Thank you all so much. Okay, so we're going to move into the Vajra family. If you feel like you need to kind of stand up and, I don't know, shake around a little bit, then this would be a good moment to do that because I'm going to read two poems for Vajra. And they kind of, to me, spoke to the transformation. So I'm actually going to begin with I won't say too much about it. I'll just begin with this one. So remember, the transformation of Vajra is from aversion or anger into mirror-like wisdom. It's associated with water and kind of the capacity to mirror with total clarity reality as it is. I don't know the name of this. I don't think there is a name, but it's just a reading by Sung Sung. Clear mind is like the full moon in the sky. Sometimes clouds come and cover it, but the moon is always behind them. Clouds go away, then the moon shines brightly. So don't worry about clear mind. It is always there. When thinking comes, behind it is clear mind. When thinking goes, there is only clear mind. Thinking comes and goes. You must not be attached to the coming or the going. So this could so easily be a poem for Buddha family as well, this total spaciousness kind of vibe. But clarity is the specific transformation of the Vajra family. But the aversion and the anger of the Vajra family gets spoken to so well in this next poem by Nikita Gill that I thought I'd bring this as well. To be a daughter is to find the wound your mother carries and try to give it a name, only to find there is no way to name it without feeling a generational rage so powerful that you can hear the echoes of grief and fury of every woman in your lineage before you. To be a daughter is to find the wound your mother carries and try to give it a name, only to find there is no way to name it without feeling a generational rage so powerful that you can hear the echoes of grief and fury of every woman in your lineage before you. So take a moment with that one. If there's anything you want to pull from that poem, if there are any lines you want to put in the chat, you could do that, and then I'll go back to the first poem. No way to name it. The echoes of grief and fury. Find the wound your mother carries. Generational rage. To be a daughter. Try to give it a name, only to find there is no way to name it. No name to name it. Okay, I'm going to go back to the prior, if it will let me. There we go. Okay. Anybody else want to read this? Okay, I will then. Clear mind is like the full moon in the sky. Sometimes clouds come and cover it, but the moon is always behind them. Clouds go away, then the moon shines brightly. So don't worry about clear mind. It is always there. When thinking comes, behind it is clear mind. When thinking goes, there is only clear mind. Thinking comes and goes, comes and goes. You must not be attached to the coming or the going. So, again, if there are any lines that you want to start from, it's helpful to others to see what calls you. You can put that in the chat. Yeah, and just see what comes through, and then we'll take 5 minutes, okay, with this as well. Okay, go ahead and wrap that up. And again, when you feel complete, you can kind of look over what came through you. And if there's anything that really delights you that you want to share, or anything that just feels poignant, anything that troubles you that you feel is worth highlighting, bring a little remembrance. You can share that in the chat. Anything you share in the chat is kind of an offering. I will read them out loud, but I won't read your name. So it's an anonymous offering to those who take in the recording. Okay, so I'm going to read what's come in so far. Not being attached to the coming and going of thinking, coming and going of pain or joy, relaxing, silence. May emotions arise as ripples on a smooth lake. As the echoes still, so too does the fury. You must not be attached to the coming and going, or as my father would say in the 50s, don't cry over spilled milk. If he had only expanded on this, say it in a way where I could get the deeper meaning. My darlings are going off to do their own lives now, so many miles from me. I, Mother, Moon, am always there. Get to ground, reach down to the sand at the bottom. Let the pounding waves pass above, calm and space within, comings and goings all around. Listen with a clear mind and an open heart so you can sing a new song for the generations to come, a song that carries the medicine for healing, a love song that echoes from the depths of your soul. Hold the mirror steady in paradox. Quiet mind then drops into spacious heart. Don't forget. Don't forget of your light. It's always there, just like the moon. Clear mind is the feeling of a sharp blade gripping and cutting across freshly zambonied ice. Fresh, clean, new. Without shackles against the void, only the void remains. And when egg cracks, the void reclaims. I do not sing praise, unless it be for practicality. Unfasten your grip. Do you doubt the presence of the sun and moon? Even on a cloudy day, even in an eclipse. Trust what is here, be present. Trust what leaves as its time has completed. Trust what remains. I want silence. I want stillness. I am not attached. I just breathe in and out. I wish sometimes that wild bird would stay, but it is wild and so it goes, and so it comes. and goes. But clear mind is always there underneath the details of the life, the abstract. Nature continues to create clean, beautiful days. Okay. Thank you all for sharing. I love reading your shares. So we're going to move into Padma. Sometimes at about this point, I notice like no more words are coming, and words are these abstract little birds that fly around, but not seemingly in any kind of coherent pattern, and I can't find any more of them. And so I stop trying to find the words, or I mean, I don't really try to make them make sense in this context at all anyway, but I want to just encourage you, if it's time for you to pick up some colors, some paints, or just doodle on the page. It's an excellent time for that. I have a stack of usually have a stack of paintings next to me. Just like I buy these little, I don't know what they are. I don't know how big this is. I don't know how big this is. What is this? 4 by 6, 4 by 7, probably. I always have these like watercolor pages right next to me, and then I will just pick them up sometimes and make little shapes and such. So I want to encourage you to do that. You don't have to feel like, oh, we're here for writing. I should be writing. Do you. And we'll do a little movement probably at the end, but I want to take us through the rest of I want to take us through this poem, and then I want to talk a little bit about the August 23rd webinar for those who can hang out and hear about it and hear a little bit about riding across the DharmaBridge for those that are interested. And then we'll do a little movement at the very end. So Padma, For What Binds Us by Jane Hirschfield. Okay, let me organize my windows. For What Binds Us by Jane Hirschfield. There are names for what binds us. Strong forces, weak forces. Look around. You can see them. The skin that forms in a half-empty cup. Nails rusting into the places they join, joints dovetailed on their own weight. The way things stay so solidly wherever they've been set down. And gravity, scientists say, is weak. And see how the flesh grows back across a wound with a great vehemence, more strong than the simple, untested surface before. There's a name for it on horses when it comes back, darker and raised. Proud flesh. As all flesh is proud of its wounds, wears them as honors given out after battle, small triumphs pinned to the chest. And when two people have loved each other, see how it is, like a scar between their bodies, stronger, darker, and proud, how the black cord makes of them a single fabric that nothing can tear or mend. So, why did I choose this one for Padma? It's mildly mysterious, even to myself. I think that, Padma is the transformation of craving into the wisdom of discernment. And I've been thinking a whole lot about how desire operates and the constancy of it, how it just kind of is surging back up again, almost like a one of the forces, the strong force, the weak force, gravitational force, electromagnetic. It's the force of desire. It's just like this something we just kind of are constantly compelled back toward. And desire is sometimes a kind of a mimetic process. Like we desire what we see being desired by others, and we can get very kind of confused by that and then create harm. Obviously desire gets really patterned, and our conditioned desires can cause us a lot of harm, can cause others a lot of harm. But there's also in the Padma family this emphasis on kind of appropriate connectedness and discernment around what really fulfills. So remember with these transformations, it's not like we're trying to get rid of one so that we can just get to the other. It's more like that at the level of conditioned experience, we tend to have a particular kind of relationship with the Padma energy, and we tend to have a relationship with the kind of the more difficult conditioned patterns of craving. But the non-dual teachings are like kind of encouraging us to turn your head a little differently, like look at it a little bit differently, and see what else is there, because the kind of the knowing of what really nourishes, the knowing of the discernment, like a desire that actually continues to have its juice, like where we continue to be drawn toward the world, drawn toward one another, um, in like a healthy way, an appropriate way, in a discerning way. There's like a deep power and humanness in that. And so it's kind of like teaching around not throwing the baby out with the bathwater and like continuing to be curious, continuing to look closely. So, who would like to read this poem? And then we'll just see where we take it. Five, four, three, two, one, and I'll read it again. For What Binds Us by Jane Hirschfield. There are names for what binds us: strong forces, weak forces. Look around, you can see them. The skin that forms in a half-empty cup, nails rusting into the places they join, joints dovetailed on their own weight, the way things stay so solidly wherever they've been set down, and gravity, scientists say, is weak. And see how the flesh grows back across a wound with a great vehemence, more strong than the simple, untested surface before. There's a name for it on horses when it comes back darker and raised, proud flesh. As all flesh is proud of its wounds, wears them and honors as honors given out after battle, small triumphs pinned to the chest. And when two people have loved each other, see how it is like a scar between their bodies, stronger, darker, and proud, how the black cord makes of them a single fabric that nothing can tear or mend. Okay, so in the interest of time, I'm going to start the timer now, 5 minutes, but feel free to share in the chat any lines that you're going to begin with. Start to wrap that up and share what you would like to share in the chat, please. Okay. So I'll just read a couple things that are coming into the chat right now. With torn psyches and twisted breath, nothing to mend. We have a way within our spiritual faculties to unstick beliefs or thoughts or habits that have been set down. They do not have to stay solidly in place. Gravity is so weak. What binds us? What we've decided turns our wounds into scars of beauty. When we reach across and feel the landscaped skin of scars on another, tracing you, tracing me, more aware of the strengths that have been forged from our wounds, corded between us. Love. When two people love each other, we witness the other's scars, some medically enforced or life getting you down. And if all goes well, we cater to each other's broken parts. Proud is also a woodworking term, the opposite of flush. Compelling concepts from the material world to learn from. And when two people have loved each other, a wound. Hermann Hesse, Steps. A magic dwells in each beginning and end, protecting us, telling us how to live. They are not tattooed on the skin, but embedded in soft tissue, somewhere in the body. They linger in silence, look through our eyes, milder with age. Proud flesh had begun to grow, would need to be cut away with a scalpel by the vet, puffed up, cutting back to the bone, raw, begin again. Okay, thank you all so much. Okay, so as promised, we are going to do a little bit of movement. Um, Let me also just remind you, if you would like to come to a webinar around, webinars are not quite the right word. It's kind of more of like a little immersion on what I'm calling it right now is the imaginal realm or something. I don't know. That's kind of a working title, the imaginal realm, tapping the imaginal realm through the Shiva Tantra. So we're going to look a little bit at the teachings of the Shiva Tantra and specifically this teaching around consciousness as a force that is constantly creating these or engaging in these five acts. So specifically constantly creating, sustaining, and then dissolving itself, and how we live inside this kind of toggle between forgetfulness of that and remembrance of that, and the grace of remembrance, and how to find the grace of remembrance even inside the like deep confusion of the forgetfulness. And the state of awe is really important in the Shiva Tantra in these teachings. It's kind of said to be like if there is a goal, the goal is to be curious enough to be in awe. So anyway, I'll tell you more about that via email. I hope you'll come. It'll also be a kind of an opening or an invitation to do a little bit of this like very specific work of looking at your own life, like what is being created, what are you creating, what are you engaging in, investing your own energy in, what are you sustaining, what are you choosing to preserve or root into, what are you dissolving in your own world. So we'll do some of that work, and as I said earlier, that's kind of the preamble for where we'll be traveling together in a program called Riding Across the DharmaBridge that is beginning on September 2nd, I believe, Wednesday, September 1st Wednesday in September. And that's Riding Across the DharmaBridge is just my sparkle fingers because I love that work so much. It's really an opportunity to do this kind of work together, but around the very specific teachings of the Shiva Tantra. So you'll hear more about that soon. And I'm offering a facilitators track this year for the first time. So people that are interested in kind of, deepening into this work, understanding the particulars of the program of Riding Across the Dharma Bridge, and then becoming licensed to offer it inside your own communities or kind of learning how to build a space in your life where you can offer it to others. That'll be what the facilitator track is all about. Okay, so because I deeply want our Sunday sessions experience to be somatic, we are going to do a little bit of somatics here, even though we're really up against the supposed constraints of time. We like to end around 10:30, which doesn't give us a whole lot of time, but time is the substance we are made of. It's Borges who said that. So we get to create, sustain, and dissolve time through our bodies right now. I'm going to move the computer a little bit. I will lead you through a few things. If you need to stay seated, it's also fine to stay seated. So we're going to start just by opening the legs up. And if you're in a chair, you just open your legs as wide as you can and comfortably in the chair. And then we'll do a little bit of hinging forward. So I'm obviously standing. I'm going to bend the knees. I'm just going to bring the hands down onto the knees. So clearly this is something that can be done in a chair. So it's kind of like we're in a wide squat. It's kind of like a goddess position, goddess squat, if you're familiar with that pose from yoga. But now as we're sitting down into it, we're going to do a little twisting side to side. So just turning yourself side to side and connecting to the breath as you do this. And just noticing long, deep inhalations, long, deep exhalations. I like to inhale to center and exhale to twist. Inhale to center, exhale to twist. And then come on back and press yourself up. And if you're standing, walk your feet back together and shake it out a little bit. If you're needing to stay in a chair, you can just shake out the upper body a little bit. I'm standing and kind of alternately bending one knee and then the other, and just shaking out the wrists, shaking out the elbows, shaking out the upper arms, shoulders a little bit. And then I'll turn sideways a little so you can see. Now I'm going to do just a little bit of deepening down, almost like I'm beginning to sit down into a little chair pose and letting the arms swing a little. This is a lot harder to do in a chair. So if you're needing to stay seated, you could try like just from your seat, pushing into the feet as if you were going to stand and then sitting yourself back down. And with this, what I'm doing, where I'm swinging the arms, if your arms don't like this, if you have shoulder injury or whatever, then just let the arms basically, don't work with the arms. Let them just go with you as you sit down and come up, sit down and come up. And there's a real emphasis on just finding ground, ground, ground. And the legs are probably starting to get a little bit warm. And so let's let that be good. And then just stand or sit and shake a little bit more. And then we're going to work slightly with the neck. Okay, so if you're seated, you'll be fine doing this seated. So we're just going to take the head over to one side. So drop your head over, actually drop your head over to the right. I'm mirroring you. So drop your head over to the right. Just let your right ear drop toward the right shoulder. And then reach your left hand down toward the ground. And then roll the chin down toward the chest. And then drop your left ear over to the left shoulder. And as you're doing that, reach your right hand down toward the ground. And I will sometimes flex at the wrist and push the heel of the hand down toward the ground. Okay, now go back to the center, drop the chin down, and take the hands out in front of you and interlace the fingers and push the palms forward and round the back. And pull the navel in, stretch out strongly through the arms. Okay, then bring the arms back and take your arms into a little bit of kind of a mild cactus arm position, opening up the chest. If you're seated, then just, stay rooted into your sitting bones and lift into the chest. If you're standing, this can come into a little bit of a standing back bend. Okay, so keep your legs strong and your tailbone lengthened and your glutes slightly firing. And then press the hands together at the heart. And as you push the hands against each other, drop the head a little bit, round the back. And then inhale, once again, open cactus arm position. Exhale, press the hands against each other at the heart, round the back. Open. And then press the hands together at the heart. Now turn yourself to the east, or imagine that you are turning yourself to the east. And do the same thing here. I might turn back to the computer, so I'm sure you can hear me, but imagine yourself turning toward Vajra, okay? And kind of bowing to that Vajra energy and opening up the back body. And then inhaling, opening up the chest, letting the deep blue light of Vajra suffuse the front body. And then exhaling, hands pressed together, back body opens, let the deep red luminosity of Padma suffuse the back of the heart. Inhaling, opening to the clarity of Vajra. And exhaling, opening the back of the heart to the wisdom of discernment of Padma. And then let the arms release and just stand for a moment in Padasana and feel yourself in the quietude of center. And of course, the mind sometimes moves, but the clear mind is never occluded. Feel the spaciousness of the Buddha family, the clarity of Vajra, the discernment of Padma. And then bring the hands gently together at the heart. Just in honoring of all beings who turn their faces toward awakening, honoring of the traditions that we're working with here, all of the Dharma protectors, all the lineages of grace, all those who have travel these paths. May all beings benefit from the work that we're doing together. May we include ourselves as we extend benefits out to all sentient beings. May we also soften and open and feel the beauty of these transformations in our own lives. Om. Okay. Good luck out there. Thanks so much for being here. Feel free, if you wish, to unmute and say goodbye. If you want to, you have the freedom.
Namaskar, Kelly. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kelly. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you.
everyone.
Namaste,
you.
everyone. Thank you.
Kelly.
So good to be with you all this
Yeah.
morning. Thank you.
Thank you.